this computer.
Okay, let me send a message to the granddaughter. She wanted to know where to find it.
Okay.
Okay, Trey should be able to find it there. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talks Evening Edition. And my name is James Slim Overton, one of the hosts, and other hosts are Leah Drake Stitt and Thomas the Colonel Chapman, and they're here with us tonight. Good evening, co-host.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Just in case someone had to do something, you know, at 7. But we're here with a special guest, Mr. Vernon Crump Jr., and longtime resident of Portsmouth, IC Northam grad. And we're honored to have you here, Mr. Crump.
Yes, well, I'm happy to be here.
Yes, and if I may, you've been on this earth 91 years. And
Oh, yes, not 92.
92, okay. Yeah, I don't want to miss any of those good years that you're having. So 92 years.
I appreciate every single one of them.
I knew, and we appreciate you being here to share some of your wisdom, some of the times that and things that you've seen over the years as the resident of Portsmouth. I want to start with, you know, you graduated from IC Northam, I believe, in 1948.
Who was that?
48.
1948, February.
And then you started working at the naval base, was it? You started working at the naval base?
I started working for the government. I started in the Norfolk Naval Shipyard. I had a temporary appointment over there for 30 days. And then I left there and went to the Marine Peak Point base, stayed there for a temporary appointment. And I went into the naval base. I went to naval base 1950.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So I want to know, so you did that. When did you have time? Then you had time to have you start your own business. I don't know when that came, raising a family, being involved with politics and community
All those,
activity. How did you fit all that in?
well, I was just thinking about that today, Slim. When you look at what I did and what I accomplished, I look back on it, I don't know where I got all the time from. I really don't. I was there working at the base, and I was going to school at Old Dominion at night and working in politics. I was the president of Central City, that Lee Ward first, and then I got to be the president of Central City Forum. And that was the beginning of my political career.
And you know, just like back in those times, it was very important to have Black businesses to service the neighborhoods because everybody couldn't go everywhere, you know, to get their flowers, to have the plumbing. So that was very common in our neighborhoods to have everything we needed right there in the neighborhoods. And you provided one of those services as a florist. So what got you started with that?
What did you say?
What got you started with being in the florist? But tell us, you
well,
started really with barber shop, right?
I started business from as far as business is concerned. I started in a barber shop, really. I was working in a barber shop on Holland Avenue.
Mm.
And I would come in the evening from the base, and I'd go over there and work in the barber shop temporarily for a while. Then I bought a shop down on County Street. And during the interim, my wife started in the flower business. Okay. So the flower business got so heavy, I closed the shop and started working working with the flowers. And I think we stayed in the flower business for like about 25, 28 years, something like that. And I think my wife retired. She retired 1996. And I had, during the interim, I was buying property also. I had several pieces of property also. And then this little shopping center that I had one or two small businesses in there. I had a barber shop, beauty parlor, antique shop, shoe shine parlor. All that was in this strip place that I had bought. I bought that from Mr. Ivory. I don't know whether you ever heard of him or not, but he was a contractor and he owned a lot of property. And after he met my wife, and he asked her if she wanted to, because she was renting from him. She asked her if she wanted to buy the place, and that's how we happened to get that little shopping area that we had.
Well, you know, it's a lot of talk these days about creating generational wealth, you know, in the Black community. And you were doing that back in those days by what you were doing, buying property, having businesses, creating generational wealth. So, you know, your family could flourish and other people in the communities could flourish. But it wasn't talked about much then, but I think that's what's the way it was with many business owners back then, trying to create generational wealth or leave something for the generations to come.
Well, I tried to do that. You know, I really did. I tried to do that. And I was successful in some ways because I got a daughter that's, she's involved in the real estate now.
Mhm.
Baby girl.
You gotta speak up, man. Speak up. You gotta speak up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, and about the wealth gap between Blacks and whites, it's widening. It's not closing. And it's a lot of reasons for that. It's a lot of reasons for that. Some of it is discrimination, some of it is racism, and a lot of it is our fault. We try to buy all the beer and the alcohol that is the soul, and they put these businesses like 7-Eleven and put them on the corner right in your neighborhood. So it makes it very convenient for you to go and get you a beer or get you now the young people smoke these, they call them blunts or something.
Go ahead on, Mr.
But they
Crump.
do. But what it really does, it takes away our wealth.
Mhm.
It saps our wealth. And now they're going into this marijuana. Virginia's going into marijuana. You can buy medical marijuana and this kind of stuff. And the young people are spending their money there. But it's nothing new. I remember years ago, I mean, this is years ago when I was young, really young. The white people, I guess it's all right for me to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. White people would bring alcohol, corn whiskey. You see them come in there on Sunday morning, they bring a load of corn whiskey in our community. And they would have bootleggers in our community sell it. That was also sapping our wealth. So is it our fault? Some of it, yes, I believe. And some of it that is society's fault. But that wealth gap is still widening, and that's a major concern for me.
Wow. Let the other host.
Mr. Crump, you know, I was fortunate enough to work with you in politics in the city of Portsmouth. And you were very active in politics in the city of Portsmouth.
Yes, ma'am.
And I mean, right from the Lee Ward to the Central Civic Forum, you know, and you were engaged and you were supporting politicians along the way. You and Lucy Overton and Helen Davis and that team, you all brought a lot to the community, and you brought a lot of respect from the politicians for each of you. A respect that we don't see anymore among the young politicians. What do you have to say about that, Mr. Crump?
Well, I remember when we had basically the control of the Black politics in the city, because we had a procedure, you know, if you want to run, we would check your qualifications, see what your platform is, and this kind of thing. And then if it worked out all right, we would support you. Now, I remember some time ago, all that changed. These younger politicians came in and they seemed to say, well, I'm going on my own. I don't need the forum.
Mhm.
I don't need the forum to support me. And that's what caused our politics to kind of go astray. It really did, because now, in fact, they didn't even come to forum to get an endorsement. Some of them didn't. Because I remember I tried to, when we were active, I tried, you know, to convince them that the best way to go is stay organized, deal with the organization, and you'll be more successful. But anyway, that's why the situation is the way it is now.
What do you think about the situation now that we're going through in Portsmouth at this time?
They don't think about what?
What do you think?
What do you think about it?
About the situation now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Your face told it all.
I'm going to be honest with you.
That's what we
Please
want,
do.
Mr. Crump.
I'm going to be honest with you. As far as Reverend Whitaker is concerned, we supported him financially, morally, and whatever.
And
I mean,
see, my son,
the ministers, and my son was one of them. They donated several $1,000s to him to pay his liquor fee.
went to court with
And for him to act the way he's doing now, it tells me that he didn't appreciate what the citizens and his fellow pastors appreciated. It just tells me that now. Why, I don't know. But if it had been me, if it was me, I would be very thankful for, number one, getting out of what I was in, number one. And second thing, being exonerated, not only being exonerated, but he was forgiven by the governor. Louise went to the governor and got the governor to grant him his citizenship back. That's one thing. The second thing is those people that are supporting him, they're not concerned about their job and their duties and who's paying their salaries. We pay them from our taxes and water bills and so forth and so on. They don't seem to be concerned about that. They don't seem to be concerned about the citizens paying their salaries. And if I had the opportunity, I'd tell them.
Well, I think you're telling them right now.
Huh?
I think you're telling them right now because he watches.
Yeah.
Well, okay, all right. It's okay with me. It's okay with me.
Mr. Crump, you said you've been out there fighting for a long time.
Yeah.
And when you come up with a fight, I'm gonna try to have something for you.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to be honest.
Yes.
I'm trying to be truthful. That's the only way I know the deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I know to relate to people. It's try to be honest and decent from the very beginning.
Mhm.
And it's
I
You
think
don't come this way but one time.
Amen.
Yes.
I think where people got lost, you know, especially with the Central Civic Forum, which was a great organization, which the Martin Luther King Steering Committee takes that mantle now. And people got lost thinking that these groups were trying to control them, which wasn't true. The group's main purpose was making sure they got the best candidates to run, especially during the Central Civic Forum days, because, you know, it was hard for a Black to even, you know, get. So you had to make sure you had the best candidate out there that could cross the boundaries. And I don't know if you're hearing me, but anyway, I think people have, you know, got confused and lost what the Central Civic Forum and the Martin Luther King Steering Committee now, their purpose is just to get the best candidates out there. And that's why you're seeing a lot of people now going independent or
But Sam, I'm gonna tell you how I feel about some of it. So it's too much greed.
Mhm.
People are more concerned about themselves and their careers and how much money. But when you get into a public job, you really, your emphasis, and it should show, your emphasis should be on the people that voted you in.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yes, the collective, not the individual. Yeah.
yeah.
And
It's all
and
of a
this is
sudden,
what I think. This is what I think happened as far as the steering committee and the forum.
Well, you know what? One thing when you was talking about Mark and Slim had mentioned that yes, he is listening, and there's an old saying, and you'll probably recognize this, that sometimes the truth hurts. And for you to say that, it puts a crack in his time and in his support, because what you're just saying is voicing what a lot of people are saying, that you, Mark, and your other three henchmen have lost your way. And it's going to take a while to get for you to, in a biblical sense, to repent, to get back on the other side. And I'm not sure if they can, if they're capable of it. I know, and from my own opinion, I don't think they're capable of repenting. The only repentance is that the voters of Portsmouth come out and throw them out in the street. So, and then to recall them. But I will go back to what you're talking about. One of my favorite subjects is institutional wealth. And you was talking about why we as a people, people of color, have not achieved compared to our white counterparts out there, and also some of our Asian and other foreigners that natural borners, either they've come here to this country, why we have not achieved. Yes, we have invested a lot into some of our young folks have gone off to in higher education, which if you've gotten that degree, you earn more than that person with the high school diploma. But the other place to it is to start your own business. And that's what you've done. And you've also taught others to go out there and start their own business. And I could tell you there is a gap in our, as a real estate agent that you had done in your previous lifetime and early in your career. Home ownership is lower amongst the Black population than it is our white counterparts. and where we buy our homes don't appreciate historically like they do in white neighborhoods. And I guess,
As far as upkeep and so forth.
well, they don't appreciate gain in value in the Black neighborhoods versus in a mixed neighborhood.
Well,
So that you know, that's always that debate in as far as home ownership, because you know we lack in that piece. And then the other piece is investing knowledge, because one, we don't teach it in the schools enough, and how to invest in the value of 401k plans and the lack of pensions that Reagan started getting rid of the pensions and brought in the 401k plans, but we don't put enough into those 401k plans to retire so you can have the golden years that you're enjoying.
you mentioned the 401k plans and IRAs and stuff like that. I never really liked that. The reason is it goes down when the stock market goes down. It goes up when the stock market goes up. Your retirement, if you work 25 or 30 years, you could wind up with no money. See, this is what I think. Now I may be wrong, but this is what I think. And not only that, the Republicans are the ones that started this. You know, to this day, they want to eliminate Social Security.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
They want to eliminate. Can you imagine? So you can work 35, 40 years and you not have nothing.
Yeah.
And this senator from Florida, he wants to start over, stop it in 5 years and start all over again. That's not helping the citizens create wealth.
That and you mentioned the Senator Scott from Florida, and he has proposed if they take back the Senate and the House and they get the presidency in 2024,
and they're gonna do it.
They are going to basically kill Social Security and Medicaid, because they want to put Medicare on that same 5-year trajectory. So can you imagine everybody over 65 and saying 5 years from now, you need to go off and get your own healthcare insurance?
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not, because we're getting it off the government's back, because it's really not guaranteed. It's not written in the Constitution. So you have a Supreme Court they will sue, and because it's not in the Constitution, they would overturn it, and both of those good programs will be gone. So you have hit the top of the nail, and it hit it, and you are so correct. So, but the only way to stop them is to go out in mass to vote. And for those who say it's and their vote don't count, yes,
you're absolutely right. If everything was on the up and up.
Yes.
But it's a game being played now.
Yes.
See, it's a game that's being played that a lot of people don't realize. And that game is being I guess, manipulated by the Supreme Court, number one. Number two, Mitch McConnell.
Yes.
And Chuck Grassley, all these old racist white people.
Yes, yes.
Their game now is to take control of the electoral process. They want the Supreme Court, because it's in the court now, coming from North Carolina.
There you go.
They want the Supreme Court to eliminate the locals, the judges, the state courts, the state courts. They want the Supreme Court to eliminate state courts having anything to, as far as adjudicating the election, the electoral process. So that's
to the legislature.
And all the processes as far as elections are concerned will be controlled by the state
State legislatures.
Can you imagine what's gonna happen?
If you don't vote, if you don't put the right people in office,
This
you
is-
know what's gonna happen.
this is-
And if your vote, if you win an election, you're gonna still lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's what's in play right now.
Yes.
And you know what they call that?
A slow motion coup.
You know what they call it?
A
Coup
slow motion coup.
The coup d'etat.
A
Coup d'etat.
slow motion
Coup d'etat.
Yeah.
Coup d'etat.
Coup d'etat.
There you
That's what they
go.
call it.
Yeah.
You are so
And it's
correct.
gonna happen, people.
Well,
Yes.
I hope it don't.
As we speak.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
Mr.
In
Crump-
other words, what I'm saying is this country will be a dictatorship.
oh yeah.
And
And a
can you
theocracy.
imagine Donald Trump being the dictator? It would be like another Hitler.
Mhm.
Well, he will bring back slavery if he can.
There's no question about it.
Yes.
And the
And
only thing you'd be concerned about is money.
yes.
You're not concerned about human nature, human beings, children, don't matter. He
Mhm.
said when you put them in the car, let the head hit the ceiling
Yep.
and shoot them in the leg. They'll be,
Yep. You are so correct. You are so correct. So these are some trying times. Trying times.
something that I have never seen.
Yes.
We are living in a time now, and I feel so sorry for my grandchildren, your grandchildren.
Mhm.
Yes.
I feel so sorry for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are not thinking. They're old enough, but they're not thinking, and they're not involved enough in the political process.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them, Mr. Crump? What advice would you give those young people today?
Number one, stop texting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's vote.
Number one, stop texting. Stop Instagram. Stop y'all. What is it? Y'all.
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
And vote. That's what you get.
These things occupy their time.
It
Mhm.
does.
Television, movies. When I was doing business and working and going to school and involved in politics, I didn't have time to look at a movie. I stopped looking at movies when I was about, I guess, 12, 13 years. I'm gonna tell you this. This happened to me. My mother and father separated when I was about 11 years old, 12 years old. And I was in the theater, Lyrics Theater, December 7th,
1941.
1941. I come out of the movie and they said that Japan had attacked Pearl Harbor.
Yes.
I went down to the Portsmouth Star. I got a bunch of papers that came out on the street and I started selling those papers. Read all about it. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. And by the time I got back to Chester Street, I had sold all them papers.
An entrepreneur as a youngster.
But that's where it all started, Leah. In fact, things were kind of tight then. I got a shoe shine box. I shine shoes on the street. At 12, 13 years old, I'd go down to Water Street, and all these white sailors be in the beer tavern, I'd go in there, nobody be in there dock with me. And I'd shine shoes and I'd be just so happy they'd be giving me 25, 50 cents, $1 for shoe shine. But then after I got older, I got to thinking they could have dropped me overboard and that would have been the end of me.
And no one would have known any better.
That's right. So everybody's not alike. I say this all the time. Everybody's not alike. But I wish that Black people and young Black people and older ones too would be a little more concerned about what's happening in this world,
Yes.
especially in the financial world,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where the game is.
Yes,
The game is in the financial world.
yes.
You got to have wealth. You got to, like you were saying, Mr. Chapman, like you were saying, you got to buy a house, or buy something, buy a piece of land or something. That's how to start you to accumulate this wealth.
Yes.
And now I've heard a lot of people say, young people now said, oh, it's all right to rent. It is all right to rent until you can buy something.
Mm-hmm.
If it ain't nothing but a TP.
Yeah.
Or they want a Lexus before a house.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. See,
Drive a house and drive a hoopty until you can get that Lexus.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
But that's a mentality that we have, and there used to be this thing, keeping up with the Joneses, and then so I never saw the utility of having that Mercedes Benz or that BMW and still renting,
Yeah,
because that house, you're just paying somebody else to live in a house that they're gaining money with, and
Right.
so I'd rather afford to invest in my own house, in my
Absolutely.
own household, so it'll appreciate or go up over time. And then
Absolutely.
one day you can own it.
While that car is depreciating.
That car is losing every day, that car is depreciating. It may look good this year, but in 2 years, it's out of style.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Crump, has always been this conversation about, did integration help or hurt us as a race? And in many ways, it probably helped us, but in a lot of ways, it hurt a lot of Black businesses that were thriving back in the day. How do you feel over the years, looking back, how do you feel and how integration affected us as a race?
Integration
Yes.
has helped us. It has
Well,
helped
help
us
us and hurt us.
and hinders us also. It
Yeah.
helped us considerably because it gave us interest into the schools that are out there, education. And now, as far as jobs and all that sort of thing, we do pretty good as far as that's concerned until you get into an area where it's a lot of racism. See, the problem with us, it's always been racism and white supremacy.
Mhm.
It's always been, and it obviously it's going to always be. And that's the hurdle that we got to get over. In most jobs or most positions, we got to jump over. Because when I was working when I was at the base, when I first went into this disposal, I was in disposal. Was no Blacks in disposal supervisor level. And I decided, after I got about 15 years, I think, I decided that I ought to try to change that. But the only way I changed it, I had to file a discrimination complaint. I had worked 15 years, give all the service I could give, do the best job I could give, and I was still a stockman. So I could see myself staying there another 15 years and not do nothing. So I decided, I'll tell you what did happen. A white guy told me that. He said, you're a smart fellow. You need to make more noise than you're making. And I started making some noise. Me and a friend of mine started filing discrimination complaints. In fact, I went from a GS3 to a GS11, but I had to file 5 discrimination complaints.
Yes.
5. And along the way, my coworkers were telling me, man, you're gonna get fired. You gonna get fired. You better stop filing these complaints. And I'm saying to myself, I don't have anything now, so I ain't got a whole lot to lose.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. And it ain't much different now, in my opinion. Integration has helped us considerably as far as education and so forth. But these politics are, they are racist, and the white supremacist people, they want to replace black people and brown people. That they got a replacement thing, what they call it, the replacement theory or something like that.
Theory.
Yeah.
But you know what? And I always said too is if you're talking about, you had to file so many complaints in your career. I always say that one, if you won't fight for yourself, how can somebody fight for you?
Right.
Yeah.
So you did the right thing by filing a complaint. And that's the only way you have a say-so is you fight for yourself.
Well, the opportunity was there. They had an employment, an EEO commission in Washington.
Yep.
I always thought that you need to try to take advantage of whatever was available. And
Yeah.
the Constitution is available to us.
Yes.
The 14th Amendment, it guarantees equal justice under the law, due process code.
Due process. That's
Yes.
right.
It's guaranteed. So you got, in my opinion, you got to use it.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
First Amendment. Now, I don't like the Second Amendment too much. I really don't.
No, I don't either, Mr. Crump.
Yeah.
They, if I can, I want to talk a little bit about guns.
Go ahead. This is
Yeah.
your show.
The police, they find police chiefs and all that stuff because of violence. I want to tell you this little joke first. I had a barber used to work for me, and person would go to these bootlegging places, and he would come back. I said, "Person, what do you do?" He said, the bootlegger told us to be quiet. Said, y'all keeping too much noise. Person said, I told him, man, you selling noise.
Mm-hmm.
What do you expect? And it's the same way about guns. You're selling guns. What do you expect? You're selling all kinds of injuries, all kinds of death.
And you put
And
them
you know
in.
what? You know what they tell you? You know what they tell you? Get
What's
you
that?
a gun, you can protect yourself.
Yeah.
You can protect yourself. And you got old grandmamas and everybody buying Glock 9s and 45s, 38s, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's the biggest joke in the world. It's a sales advertisement to get you to buy a gun.
Yep.
You know how many guns? Let me tell you this statistic. That 2020, there were 45,220 guns, murders in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Only 20 of them was
Mass.
used to defend a person's self.
Mm-hmm.
Only 20.
Mm-hmm.
But they tell you got to buy a gun to protect yourself.
Yep.
If that was the case, police would never get killed. They kill them 3 and 4 at a time. If guns protect you.
Yeah.
If guns protected, am I right?
You right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the biggest non-starter, or one of the biggest lies that we tell in America, that you have to have a gun to protect yourself. And it's become part of the religious rights mantra to stay in power, because somebody's always coming to get your guns.
Right.
And the thing is, and I'm a gun owner myself, but why would I or anybody need an AK-47 or something that can that I used when I was in Iraq to protect the house?
Right.
Something's wrong with that picture, and that's why you have these mass killings. And most of the time, it's these crazy white males that were disenfranchised, that have white supremacy backgrounds, or they're Trumpists, like this young boy there that just did this last shooting was a Trump man. They're there to harm others. They don't care about life.
Well, it's all coming from, the bottom line is greed.
Mm-hmm.
The manufacturer of Smith & Wesson, Remington, they see the same thing you see. They see this AK-47 or AR-15. They see those guys killing babies. They see it, but morally, they don't care.
Don't care. That's right.
Morally, they don't care. But they should. Let me say this. You got 400 and some million guns now, and they're making them every day.
Mm-hmm.
And putting them in our society every day. That's the same principle as the drug people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're making crack cocaine, or cocaine rather, marijuana, and they're shipping it over here and putting it in our community. What do you think you're gonna have? You're gonna have drug addicts.
Mm-hmm.
And crime.
You have people committing crime to get drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So it ain't all, we're not bad. We contribute to it because we use it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to use it, but if they put a gun in our community, we're gonna use it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they use it every day. These young boys, they just arrested a guy out there on George Washington Highway, a couple of young boys. They had AK-40, not 47, AR-15,
15. Mm-hmm.
ammunition, all kinds of stuff. In the trunk.
Mhm.
And Mr. Trump, and they show it daily on these social media pages. You go to the social media page, you see them with the guns in the air and the money in the face. They're showing it daily.
Sure. That's glamorizing.
Yes.
It's glamorizing, enticing these young people to buy you a gun and make you a big man in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just throw this in. Let me just throw this in there. We talked about generational wealth, but Mr. Crump, you also created generations, and we heard somebody off camera speaking there, and I want to, if he can get his face in there, Dr. Vernon Crump III.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Bro Overton, I'm here.
We can't see your face though, Vernon.
You can't see my face?
Oh, we see you now.
All right, you see me now? I'm beside this guy here. I'm his only son.
Yeah.
And Deborah and Tway are online watching.
Deborah and Tway
okay.
online.
That's good. Yeah.
But I wanted to mention Dr. Crump too, because we were joking a few days ago about HBCUs, and he went to North Carolina A&T.
My granddaughter's a senior there.
And Virginia Union.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.
Yeah, that's it.
Got Panther Pride too, because he attended the theology school there at Virginia Union. So just wanted you all to see, put a face to the person that's off camera there making comments. And we appreciate you, Doctor, being there and assisting. and doing what you do and doing
Yeah.
what you're doing out there in the community as well. We appreciate you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Let me just say this. My father, he wouldn't tell all of the stories of his how he got to be who he is over the years. But I was there to see it all. I left here once I finished school, and got called into two different churches as a senior pastor, one in Richmond and one in Winston-Salem. But for the most part, in my growing up as being his only son, when he talks about all of his entrepreneurial spirit and everything that he was trying to do, by me being the only son, you can't imagine how many houses I've been under, how many roofs I've been on top of, how much grass I had to cut. When he built our first house on Argyle Street, I was there shoveling the sand with the carrying cinder blocks, and wherever house that he bought, I had to do some kind of work at those houses. So when I had the opportunity to leave town, I took it.
He left it.
But you know what? What I'll tell you, what you just talked about and the things that he had you do, that was probably, if you really look at it, that was your foundation of who you are today.
Oh, there's no question about it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a good thing that he did that.
Oh, yeah, it's no question about it. It gives you some kind of your value system, how you look at the world, and you see family. You realize how important family is. My heart, I guess that's why one of my first ministries was had a rites of passage ministry for adolescent boys, because I knew that was important. They needed that. That was in my first church. That's what's missing in our community now. The young boys, a lot of them not young, no guidance, no direction, no sense of what right and wrong is.
Mhm.
And as my father said, when you have drugs, alcohol, and then you put guns in the middle of it, they still have to eat, but I know that they stay somewhere. Wherever they lay their head at night, there needs to be somebody in that home, apartment or whatever, giving them some type of direction or guidance. Because otherwise we won't quell this violence. It's not just here in Portsmouth, it's all over.
It is.
The
You're
urban
right.
communities.
Mhm.
Yes, it truly is. It's hard to relate to them, but I don't have no fear of them, but I'm not going in their neighborhood after dark. I'll tell you that.
Dr. Crump, I have to mention also that Dr. Robin Nottingham, his younger child, is on here as well. So
Okay.
I want to make sure that I mentioned that. And Dr. Crump, I was truly blessed because Mr. Crump,
Yes, ma'am.
Lucy Overton, Helen Davis, they were my mentors.
Yes, Lord, have
They
mercy.
raised me up in the political
Yeah,
world.
it's-
They
it's
taught
just a
me
few.
how to do the political world the right way.
Yes.
I am where I am today because of the Vernon Crumps and the Lucy Overtons and the Helen Davises. And I take my hat off to each of you and I honor you. And the fact that you're a 92-year-old Norfolk grad, sound mind, and ready to lay the law down, that
Yes,
makes
ma'am.
me even happier.
There is not but one or two of us left. It's Helen, Diane Wagner,
Uh-huh.
Johnny Morrison came in latter part of
It
the,
came late. Uh-huh.
yeah, of course, Lucy, not Lucy, Louise, I was just thinking about Louise. She finished Norfolk State, 1982, and she, between 82 and 92, she was on the city council and
Mhm.
went to the General Assembly.
Right.
So she accomplished quite a bit.
She did.
And we supported her. Of course, we supported most candidates that you see. People like Archie Elliott. Judge Overton ran. He was the first one to run for city council. Of course, he lost. And then
Yeah, Big Boy Turner.
well, Turner, I tell you, Turner and Holly, the story about that. Holly, Turner, and Solomon Curry.
Solomon Carey. Yes.
He ran at that time. The whites had a whole lot of candidates running. So we figured that was an opportune time for us to get somebody on council.
Mm-hmm.
And we ran 3 people. That was Holly, Turner, and Solomon Curry.
Mm-hmm.
And we got Holly and Turner
Turner on.
in 1968.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it all began as
That's
far
where
as
it
the
began.
council is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we got Archie as a circuit court judge.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have any permanent judge. I think Judge Overton was a temporary judge.
Uh-huh.
So we got a permanent, Archie's permanent job. We worked that, how we worked that, we got together with Senator Spahn. He
Mm-hmm.
wanted us to do something for him, and he asked us, and we asked him to do something for us.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Archie got that job.
Mhm. But Mr. Crump, we see ourselves in that same position this year. We have so many African Americans who are running for the city council. There are only 4 whites running. There are 3 seats available. So we find ourselves back in that situation again this year.
I think so. And that means you gotta organize and get behind whoever you think it would be, because if those 2 people that are on to be recalled, if they're recalled, then you probably have to replace, not put somebody in their place
Right.
when election time comes.
Right.
So at that time, it'll be what, about 3, I think, it'd be
3
3 running.
seats. 3 seats.
That'll
Uh-huh.
be Moody. It would be a Moody and the 2 seats.
Uh-huh.
That it.
Yeah.
So what you got to do? You got to get together, or everybody be on one page
Mm-hmm.
and vote, because we can do that because we got enough voters to do it. But now, if you let money come in and separate us, then
Mm-hmm. And
that'll
it has
be
happened, Mr. Crump. We know that, don't we?
oh, yeah, of course. It was happening back 40, 50 years ago.
It surely was.
We had a guy. We had a guy who worked for anybody. I don't care who was running. If a black was running, he worked for any white, anybody. It didn't make him no difference. All he wanted was money.
Uh-huh.
So
Mhm.
this was years ago.
Well, you got the same situation going on today. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Thurgood Marshall made a statement, and he talked about when Uncle Clarence went to the Supreme Court, and he says there's no difference between a black snake and a white snake, and he was referring to Uncle Clarence. And you see what we got now, and so you can draw that out to some of the members that are on our city council now.
But you know, thinking about Clarence Thomas, I don't understand how a black man.
he don't know he's black. He don't know he's black, Mr. Crump.
He's not black.
He don't know
He's
he's
only
black,
black
Mr.
on the
Crump.
outside.
He don't know he's black.
Nah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Well, maybe you're right. By being married to Jenny, maybe maybe he does think he's right. But I tell
Yeah.
you one thing, he's gonna be the worst jury, Supreme Court justice that ever served on
You're right
the
about
Supreme
that.
Court. He's gonna be, as far as black people concerned, now the white people gonna love it.
Mm-hmm. Because he's doing their biddings.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And he's carrying their water, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you watch the movie Django, where DiCaprio had his favorite black slave called what's his name, Stephen, and Stephen would do anything. Yes, Mr. Boss. There you go. That's our Supreme Court justice. Anybody ask me, do we have when we talk about Justice Brown, the female that just went up there? I say she's the only black Supreme Court justice that we have on the Supreme Court. I don't even count Uncle Clarence or Stephen or whoever you want to call him now.
Yeah, I see. That's
But
something.
Yes.
He doesn't have any race pride. The person that does that, same thing about Tim Scott. Tim
Yeah.
Scott,
Yeah. Uncle Scott, yeah.
Uncle Scott, he
Uncle Tim.
out of his mouth, no racism in this country.
Yeah.
I wish I had a bat to hit him side of the head when you said that.
Mr. Crump, as I listen to you and all the wisdom you have and being aware of everything and bringing us that knowledge from back in the day, how things haven't changed as much, but they have a lot of ways. And you have never wavered in the way you feel and your convictions about, Portsmouth politics and everything. Are we missing something with our younger people that might be interested in politics that we're not getting across to them? And like you said, we're letting the money slip in before dedication to your neighborhoods or your communities or to your people. I mean, seems like everybody's just out for themselves, and
It's
while
so
all the
much
drama is going, while all
so
the drama
much.
is going on, there's still things that need to be done in our communities, and that seems to be secondary to people.
So much phony stuff going on.
Yeah,
Everybody is saying good stuff, but they're not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
If you, in my opinion, if you give me a job to do, I'm gonna try to do my job. I'm not gonna try to sham you. I'm not gonna try to get over on you, but it's a lot of get over going on now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's everywhere. It's not just in the community. It's in the church.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's on the job.
Yeah.
Everybody want to get over,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and if they can lie and get by, they're gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the Bible, going back to the Bible that Mr. Chapman was talking about, the Bible, I think is in John, the 8th chapter, 32nd verse. The truth is the light,
Yes, indeed.
and
Yes.
it will set you free.
Mm-hmm.
But and also is in Timothy, I think the 2nd Timothy, the 4th verse, 4th chapter and the 4th verse. It says, man will turn his ears away from the truth
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
and begin to worship late fables.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, begin to worship lies.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Now,
Yes.
what I'm saying now was written over 200 years ago.
2000.
That's right.
2,000
2,000 years ago. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And we
And
see
it-
it every
and
day
it-
now,
and-
don't we, Mr. Crump?
And it's true.
Yes.
Well, we have some politicians that do this to enrich themselves. And so it goes back to we need to vet and look at the qualifications of who we put out there. We should know that if you don't have a job, unless you're independently wealthy and you don't have a job, then why should I put you out there to say create some jobs? When you go in there, I'm looking to get my cut.
Yeah.
And so and that's the history we have with some of the folks.
I think we got 2 of them down there.
Yeah.
The 2 of them.
Yeah.
We got 2 of them down there, bro. Chapman.
Yeah. No, and the truth hurts.
Yeah.
The truth hurts.
I think one of the main things is not being afraid, the people we put in there, not being afraid to hold them accountable. And anybody that's concerned about the efforts of the recall, it's just a matter of people holding them accountable in the most effective way we know how. If they're not going to listen, you have to do what it takes to make them listen or take them out. But it's just a matter of holding them accountable, and we can't be afraid to hold the very people we put in there. We have to be able to hold them accountable for their actions once they're there.
That's right.
Well, being accountable also, you have to put some of this on the electorate, and they have to, the people that go down there and vote can say, is this person doing by me right? And just because they have the same color or they attend the same church doesn't make them be supportive of what I'm, for me.
Right.
So you have to break off that. It's like a separation of church and state. You have to be breaking that away and says, do they have my interest, or do they have their own self-interest in all the?
And it's hard to tell that sometimes.
Yeah, but it's because everything's in what they call closed session.
That's right.
Yeah. And then
I'm talking about when people run. When people run, they talk a good game, and it's easy to be swayed if they know what to say and to get people in. And just like Mr. Crump said, it's hard to tell that sometime in the beginning if someone is pretty good in convincing you that that's what they're going to do, and then they get there and don't do it. And that's why the remedy for that is what's going on now.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just don't know, but you have a better chance of getting someone in there if you really take time and vet them and make sure they're consistent wherever they go, what they say, and not say one thing in one neighborhood and another thing in another neighborhood.
That's right.
As you said before, James, you got to hold them accountable.
Yeah,
but
hold them accountable.
But they also,
they say it too.
But they've been around a long time, and they can look at that we are divided as a people, and saying they know if enough of us run, and they will split the vote, rather than the black candidates get together and says you don't have a chance because you only got your people voting for you is on your same street. Let's have a meeting so we can won't split this vote, and so we can get rid of these people.
I mentioned that earlier. Get your act together and come together and see. That's what the forum used to do.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
That's what the forum used to do.
It's not your time, because by you run and say X is running, all you're doing is pulling away votes to help such and such stay in office.
Yeah.
But that's what the forum used to do.
Yeah.
We should make sure that we all on the same page. As far as the goal is concerned.
Get the right people in.
The goal is to get two people in there, go behind two people, and don't let these 3 or 4 people come in. You just freeze them out.
Yep, exactly.
But that's the issue sometime now, because some of the people that you tell that's not your time, they say, well, you're trying to hold me back, or I have a right to run, and they're not looking at the big picture. And then you got 10 people running, because they can. And then you have some people in there that have no chance, but even some people with no chance might get 50 votes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Somebody out.
Yeah, or you'll have somebody with no job and is propped up by somebody else that's not, because if I give you so much money so you can run, you're going to cut me a deal later on.
Well, I really believe this situation in Portsmouth, I believe, what's this guy's name? Danny Meeks is he's still creating these problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
I believe it's a lot of people behind the scenes that are creating havoc.
But it's always been, Slim. It's
Yeah,
always been somebody in Portsmouth.
Yep.
It's and they're not black either.
Mhm.
right. But that's all the reason for us to use our common sense and look at the big picture and make sure we get people in there that's going to serve our interests as well as the interests of the whole city.
Yep.
But Slim, it revolves back to the fact, though, if we do that and other individuals still decide that I'm going to be a candidate, I don't care what nobody
But
says.
that's what happened.
They're gonna cipher off the vote. You're gonna
Yep.
end up getting someone in there who, once again, not gonna serve the interests of the people.
Yep.
That happened. That's what happened.
It-
But
it-
politics is a brutal game.
It's a brutal game.
It's a brutal game. I was talking to Jim Hardy one time, and we got to talking about church politics. He said church politics were more cruel and brutal than politics in society.
Oh, that's true.
But I figure the reason is you don't have any regrets.
Mhm.
See, if you go to the court, the judge gonna tell you
Y'all figure that out on your own.
y'all got to figure that out on your own because it's church and state
Mhm.
separation.
you know,
You sure can't go to the digger
No.
because they hooked up with the pastor. So it's kind of tough.
It is tough.
Yeah,
we talk
it
about
really
money
is.
is the problem, and also power is the problem as well. After you get a few of those, come on down here to the front, councilman. You deserve to sit down here. You get a few of those.
Yeah, right,
And
right.
power Trump. And that could be a part of the problem too. But that's just showing respect for that person's position. But sometimes it goes to that person's head in a way where it's not advantageous to the public he serves
That's
Yeah.
right.
or he serves.
Yeah,
But that's life. That's life. You said that's always been that way. All we can do is just be as aware as we can. And the main thing is getting people out to vote, period. You can't have 20% of people coming out and voting and expect to get the best candidates, because that's not even near what the public wants, because it's not a percentage of the voting public, which is like 60-some thousand people. And you get 15,000 people to come out to vote, I mean, who are they serving? Just those 15,000 people that voted for them?
yeah.
So
That's
they don't have
exactly
to answer to
that's
you.
exactly who they serving. Believe me,
Yeah.
they're not serving the population as a whole.
No,
They're only
no,
serving those individuals who agree with them.
that's
If you don't
right.
agree with them, they don't
Yeah.
want to work with you.
Yeah.
So in other words, you got to be loyal. Is that it?
That's what it is. That's what it is. It's a
And if
Donald
you're not
Trump.
loyal,
It's a Donald Trump kind of thing. You got to be loyal regardless of whatever I do. You got to
Whatever
stand
you
up.
do.
can you imagine being loyal to a guy like Donald Trump? I
Mm-mm.
think he's a piece of trash. But still,
I think the people loyal to him think he's a piece of trash, but they see all those
Scared.
people.
They're
following-
scared.
They see those followers he has, and they want that.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
They
It's
know
all
he's-
about getting
know
power. and
he's a
keeping
clown.
power.
But anyway, Mr. Trump, we a little past an hour, and we said we're gonna talk to you for an hour. And,
Okay.
We'll probably have you back again and talk about some other things other than politics, because I know anybody that's been around has a wealth of knowledge in other areas as well that they can share with us and our viewing publics. And we would love to have you back and talk about some of your Malcolm days.
That's right.
That had to be pretty fun there. You athlete, you played football, right?
I played football 4 years at Dawson.
Oh, okay. What position did you
And
play?
then I graduated there, and I was taking courses at Old Dominion. And I finally got a degree. I got a degree in political science in 1993. That was after I retired from the base.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. It's never too late to get that that piece of paper and that education, right?
Yes.
Yes, you know, I depend on education.
Yeah,
I used to preach that to my children all the time.
Yes.
yeah.
If you want to be in the thing, you want to make any money, you got to get an education.
You gotta get an education.
Yes, sir.
Sounds
You
like
know,
one of
old
those
folks, old people used to do that. You know, they tell their children, if you want to get ahead, you got to be smarter, twice as smart as the white man.
There you go. That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a time where the opportunity wasn't there for a lot of people, even though they had they were capable of going to school, but they couldn't. They had to work. So
Mhm.
That's right.
the push for education was there. I don't know if it's like that now, but anyway, we want to thank you for coming on. And I don't know if our hosts have any last comments that they'd like to share with you right now.
Well, I enjoyed talking to you all. And it was nice meeting you, Mr. Chapman.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, and you keep doing what you're doing, and we want to celebrate your 100th birthday whenever that comes around.
Well, now you keep talking. You doing all right. Leah,
Well, Mr. Crump, go ahead, Mr.
I
Crump.
love you, baby.
I love you too, Mr. Crump. I tell you, I gained so much knowledge from you in my younger days when I was getting involved in politics. And I tell you what, you continue to be the young man who keeps on giving. Thank you.
Keep
You-
talking, Leah.
You keep giving and you keep giving, and I appreciate you so very much.
All
And
right,
I
dog.
don't know which water they fed you all at Norcom during your time there, because you and Mrs. Roberts and Coach Savage, I mean, strong minds, strong bodies.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
I love you. I love you all so very, very much.
Well,
Thank
we
you.
love you too, Leah.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
It was those
Been a
fish.
pleasure. Slim, you take it easy now.
Take it easy. And I will share that every time I would see Mr. Crump at different times, he would always share a little bit of knowledge with me
Always,
going
always.
on. So I was
Well,
always ready to accept that. And
I
receive
tried to do something to help, not hurt.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I try to do something. If I can't help you, I ain't going to hurt you.
Exactly.
I'm not going to hurt you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm sure all our watchers appreciate you sharing your knowledge with us tonight. So
But
take care.
anytime I can help you, just give me a call, Slim.
And
Call
thank you.
Deborah or my son.
Okay.
Thank you, Doc.
All right,
appreciate
listen, anytime y'all want him, I'll set him right up on this Zoom.
Okay. Sounds
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. And Portsmouth Coffee Talk is here for our voice.
Our community.
Oh, coffee talk. All
All
right.
Coffee talk. All
That's
right.
a good name. That's a good name. Although I don't drink that much coffee.
That's okay. Just enjoy the talk. That's all right.
All right.
All right. All right.
All right.
All right. Take care.
All
Take care,
right.
everyone.
Take care.
Good night.
Good
Bye-bye.
night. Good night.